Hi, welcome back to Flip That Script. I'm Dana.
And I'm Holly.
Today we're going to dive deep into the shadow side of sisterhood. It's the side where we whisper and have sideway glances, the backhanded compliments. It's mean girl energy because mean girls grow into adults. And today we're going to discuss, why we do it and where we learned it and maybe a little bit of how we can heal it.
So it's really easy, I think, when we're younger to spot, the quote mean girl, the eye rolls, the exclusion, the gossip. But grown women carry this shadow energy into adulthood. And it can be even more subtle and more damaging as we get older. Like Dana presented the backhanded comments that sounds like praise but drips with judgment, implying that your choices are risky, inappropriate, or attention seeking. And it plays on self consciousness and weaponizes false admiration to undercut confidence of other women. So, like when they say, "You're brave for wearing that outfit, I could never pull that off." But what is that really saying? It says, you don't follow the rules I've decided that are acceptable for women. But who gets to decide that?
And it's also used like that phrase in particular, it can plant seeds of doubt in someone and their self esteem and cause a lot of harm.
Right. Because it would make someone go look in the mirror, double check themselves. Like, should I not be wearing this? A lot of women would start to question themselves. And especially a woman that perhaps was already struggling with self worth and confidence when a woman says such a backhanded comment like that.
And what you could do for that comment is just say thanks. Confidence makes everything look better, doesn't it?
Right. Right. Just turn that script around to keep your confidence in your self worth. I think that there is also a lot of passive aggressive tones in groups or even work meetings. When someone, I believe, doesn't like that another woman steps up and takes charge, or give you that comment, okay, well, I guess we're just doing it that way now.
Mhm.
And we're adults. If you didn't like how someone stepped up to say something, or are you upset because someone else did step up and you didn't have any vision to step up? Always
Right.
double checking your motivation.
It's not just in comments too. It can be when someone forgets to include you in an email even or an invite to a party at your mother-in-law's house, you weren't invited.
Which is very painful. That's a very painful experience when you're excluded from your own inner circle.
Right. I mean, you could always call and say, "Is this an oversight or is this a statement?" Because I want to know how I need to respond. And just ask it. If it was an oversight, then it's an oversight. But I think if oversights happen continually, then
Right.
looking at a pattern and it's probably a statement.
Exactly. The one place I think we would not expect this to show up is in the more spiritual or wellness communities. However, it shows up a lot by using phrases like, I just don't have space for her energy right now. And what you're really saying is, I don't want to deal with her, but I want to feel righteous about not dealing with her. And I can call my own self out because I have said about other people, I only can take them in small bits. And truly, from my heart, I didn't mean that in that shadowy side. I think it's just a personality conflict with that person that I know perhaps their personality and my personality, maybe I'm more high strung, or they're more high strung, or I do things one way and they do things another, and it makes it difficult. But we do need to check ourselves. What is my motivation behind feeling like I can only handle a small bit of a person? And if so, do I need to remove myself because it's not that person's fault? They are who they are, and they should 100% be who they are. So I
Absolutely.
think even in any community, we can use phrases like, I'm just protecting my peace. I can't be around her. That is a very underhanded comment when it's being used in that way.
Yeah. I think that the place I notice in adulthood anyway, most of this behavior in women is the silent competition in motherhood, like shaming each other over breastfeeding, sleep training, working versus staying at home. It turns into a boxing ring between mothers, like,
It really does.
and
Yeah,
especially your like the mothers and the grandmothers of the baby wanting to tell them how to do this, how to do that, and they're getting information from everybody and they're trying to do their best. They're doing what works best for them.
exactly.
And I think we need to, instead of looking at them and saying, that's not the way I did it, but that's the way they do it. And that's the way it works for them. And we need to applaud them for doing it. I mean,
Exactly.
it takes a lot to be a mother, especially today.
Motherhood is not easy. And when you are discussing how you're raising your baby, one mother chose to bottle feed, one mother chose to breastfeed. For each mother, that's the best decision for them.
And
For each mother, it is. And people can get, just like Dana said, so self-righteous in that aspect. Well, I'm nursing my baby. She just isn't dedicated enough. She just doesn't want to take the time to do it. She just wants to prop the bottle, right? We've heard all of these things in mother circles. That can be very hurtful, especially for a brand new mother who is doing the best she can do.
or how about the mother who works and the father who stays home with the kids? That mother is looked at like she's evil because she's leaving the baby with the father.
Yeah, like she's abandoning the baby.
Hmm.
Or why did she have a kid in the first place?
Right. Then there's the mothers that say, when another mother gets a babysitter and goes out for the night, why do you need to go out? You have children. You need to stay home.
Right, right. There is that motherhood is so stuffed full of criticism and judgment, especially from other women. And really, we need to be raising each other up and saying, that's amazing that you chose to bottle feed. I bet it's really convenient for you because let's face it, nursing is hard. Breastfeeding a baby is hard. And if that's the right choice for her, that's the right choice for her. It doesn't mean that she loves her baby any less or doesn't care about her baby. We need to encourage each other as women. And I do believe where a lot of that divide comes from has been from the internalization of patriarchy, where you're conditioned to believe as women, there's only one seat at the table for a successful woman, a successful mother of any kind of successful woman. There's only one seat at the table. You've been told your worth is based on beauty, youth, likability, and other women become threats. They don't become your allies. So it's kind of that mentality. If she does something better than me, then it makes me less. But if we could flip that and be like, if she can do that, I can do that. What happened
Right.
to having a woman as a mentor and saying, wow, how did she do that? I'm going to do that because we can all do the things we want to do. I mean, Dana and I collaborate. We don't compete. We collaborate. We refer each other clients. We bring clients to each other. And there is plenty of people in the world that need hypnotherapy and help. and them are going to be matches for her and some for myself. But we don't have that jealousy of, oh, Dana got a new client this week and I didn't,
Right.
because I'm excited when she gets a new client, and likewise, she's excited when I get a new client. So it's all about understanding that we don't have to compete with each other. There is enough room at the table for everyone.
Right. More than enough. And I believe that when women tear each other down, it's honestly usually it's just a sign that we've been taught. We've been taught to fear our own power because others fear the power of women and solidarity. And society itself has taught us that there can be only one smart woman. There can be only one successful woman, only one pretty girl. There's only one pretty woman. So, in order for me to be pretty, I have to put you down. Or for me to be successful, I have to put you down. That's what we're taught. But that's not
Yes,
true. But we're taught that so that we can't come together and make something great
exactly.
because the patriarchy is threatened.
And it's very true. Women are powerful as a sovereign being, but together we're extremely powerful. And we don't mean powerful in the way of taking away anybody else's rights, anybody else's success. I will clap a man and cheer them on just a click. However, women need to lean on each other and be taught that we can also cheer each other on, because a woman in the work field, let's say there's 3 women in this work field and there's 10 men, those 3 women will cheer on every man in that room, leading to their success, but they will cut down and be condescending and feel threatened by the other 2 women because
Mhm.
of that shadow side that makes you feel like only one of us are worthy to be here with the men. And I can't help but every time we talk about the shadow side, to think about Carl Jung, who always says we always carry a shadow, and this is disowned parts of us. So when we see another woman, what that we've rejected what she's doing, it's a fear in ourselves, and we attack it. And we have to flip that script in our mind to say, what I judge in her may be what I need to heal in me.
Absolutely. You know, we learn this early on. We learn it in school with the school cliques, you know, which clique are you in? Are you the the popular kids? Are you you know? And you're going
Hmm.
to be in the popular group. But then if you're not, you don't like the popular group.
Right.
And then you have every mean thing to say about those girls. Or even the media that we've watched, even in TV shows. I mean, you notice women on TV who are beautiful and they're in the show, they're married to a man who's just like normal, but she's some supermodel because men aren't held to the same standards.
As women, yes. It really all goes back to we need to lift each other up. And I think another thing that is very judged in women is one woman will say to another one, "You're just too emotional. You really need to suck that up and get tough." We are emotional beings, should have every right to show our emotions. Some people are more sensitive than others, and that works as well with men, but it's called out a lot amongst women. If you want to succeed, you got to suck up those tears. Don't use emotions in that meeting. Don't be emotional with your kids. You're babying them.
Mhm.
I always like to use this example when a mother has been told so many times, don't hug your kid when they fall down. I'm like, if your best friend fell down, would you comfort them? Would you see if they were all right? Then why is
Mhm.
it not okay to do that with your child?
Right.
We can use our emotions because women by nature are more emotional creatures, or we're more apt to share our emotions. And we should be proud of that and encourage each other and celebrate each other. I think that's another thing that women feel awkward about, or other women judge women about, is celebrating another woman. But we should celebrate other women's successes.
We should. We should. And another thing that you hear a lot, if a woman is successful and climbed that ladder, got somewhere hot, you know, we, you always hear someone, at least someone will say, well, you know, she only got that because maybe she was
Maybe she slept her way to the top. Maybe she knew someone, because it couldn't possibly be her own intelligence, skill,
exactly.
and work ethic.
And I mean, women aren't the only ones that say these things either. Men do too. But I think it's worse when it comes from a woman
Right.
because we know how that feels to be talked about like that. We know how it feels to have someone gossip. We know how it feels to be shamed in about our clothing isn't good enough or not being invited to that party. We all have had that happen at some point. We know how it feels to have mother-in-laws that think you're not good enough for their son. We know how that all feels. So why would we want to do that to someone else?
Right. And like Dana said, we are used to those comments from men. We shouldn't be, but we are used to those
Mm.
comments, especially men. If you rise above them, you're going to
Yes.
get those comments. They're going to say them. But there is a deeper tinge and sting when it comes from another woman, simply because she should honor the fact that she knows how hard it is as a woman to break through that glass ceiling, to still
Right.
break through that glass ceiling in 2025. So I think this should prompt us all to think about, what kind of woman do I want to be in the presence of another woman's power?
Right. I mean, what happens to a woman though that is the target of the mean girl shadow sisterhood syndrome here that we're talking about? Like I said, it internalizes self-doubt and confusion. You're confused. And then, you become hyper vigilant around your female friends because you don't know that you can trust them. You don't know what they're talking about behind your back. And you're constantly thinking, was that comment genuine or was there something behind that? And then we push our voice down and we start shrinking.
Yes. Yes. We begin to think things like, I'm not good enough. Women aren't safe. If I shine or I become successful, they're just going to tear me down more.
Mhm.
And like Dana said, then we shrink back. We shrink and become smaller and aren't ourselves. And hypnotherapy allows our clients to revisit those moments in a safe and detached way and reprocess them with compassion and give that inner moment when it happened, to reclaim it and then reclaim their trust in sisterhood.
And even gossiping about other women as soon as they turn away.
Yes, yes.
And if you're ever part of that, like if you're there and somebody is gossiping to you about someone else and you want to stop it, just refuse to be complicit in the conversation. Say, hey, I don't, I like her. She's my friend. I don't want to talk about her. Or just don't talk to that person. Just walk away. You don't have to say anything. Just walk away. Just do not allow that attention or that gossip to spread.
Do not engage with it.
No,
Do
that
not
means they'll
engage with it.
probably say something about you too, but we know what it is.
Right. I mean, in society often pits women against each other. Just in
Oh,
general, is how our society rewards thinness and youth and perfection and the performance of femininity. She's not feminine enough. she's more like a guy. And, that can even create subconscious survival scripts within your mind. Like, I have to be this certain way. I can't be who I am. And it also leads to sometimes, after going through those experiences, feeling as if you have to be the shadowy side of a woman and begin to treat other women that way. And that's really difficult too. But some people, it perhaps feels to them as if that protects them more if they fit in and start behaving in that way. And it only
Right.
perpetuates the problem overall.
And sometimes they feel they have to be that way in order to make friends with the people that are that way because they think everybody's that way.
Yes.
And we do want to be included, but then we get included and then we can't rest with our friends. And then we don't have real friendships. We don't
Yes.
have, those are not real friendships. And once you find a true friendship is, then you'll understand. So I suggest setting out to be the person you want others to treat you that like. If you would like to be treated that way, I know that's the whole golden rule that's been since we were, you know, children, but nobody listens.
Right.
Um,
I think it's understanding that truly, if you put out the energy and the way that you want to be treated, it will return to you. So
yes.
instead of, you know, she's too much, shift that thought to she's showing me a part of me that I haven't let live yet. I haven't allowed myself to be fully who I am yet. And that could be why it's triggering me to feel that she's too much. And ask yourself, once you realize that, where did it come from? Think and just really go deep within and say, wow, what was said to me to make me think that? Trace it back to the root belief or fear and figure out, hey, this is so not true. I always like to say, women are not too much. If a woman, if somebody tells a woman they're too much, I always say, no, they're not enough for you. They're not
Mhm.
enough for you. You are just as you should be.
And, even people close to you can do this without realizing it. Like maybe a comment like when they say that they were just looking out for you, maybe they said something like, you might want to tone it down. You're coming off a little desperate. And they're only doing it to look after you. But why do I need to shrink?
Right.
It's who I am. Well, like maybe when you get engaged and you're excited and you tell your mother, your sister, or your best friend, or whoever, and they'll say, oh, wow, he proposed? Like, I didn't think that he'd go for someone with your baggage. Like, you have all these, all this stuff to unpack. And okay, what was
All
that a
of these,
compliment or are they excited
right.
for you or are they saying jealousy of some sort or your career's going so well? Like, don't let it make you forget to be humble.
Yes. Because
Be
women aren't supposed to
humble.
be proud of their
Right.
accomplishments, but we should be. I
We
mean, I
should.
think often the voice that was learned from a critical mother, a perfectionist teacher, or childhood bullies, we need to shift that from shame to support. And even our own inner critic, our own mean girl inside, criticizing ourselves constantly.
Yes.
Where did that voice come from? And we really need to flip that to I speak to myself like someone I deeply love, and I speak to others like I speak to myself.
I like that. I like that. I think another thing that we do, not we, but like women in general, is say you're saying something. Okay. And then I'll just restate it, but louder, and then I'll take credit for it.
Right.
Or maybe I'll be like, oh, Holly, she always needs to be the center of attention because you have an idea. But your idea is valid and your idea is smart. But that's
Yes,
how I'm going to take away from what you're doing.
exactly.
I see that kind of thing happen a lot.
I do as well. And I think one thing that we really need to work on and is just telling yourself, even your own inner critic, is just having those affirmations so that not only when something is said to you, but when you're saying it to yourself or you hear other women, another woman's power is not a threat, it's a mirror. And reminding women of that, reminding yourself of that. Or I release the need to compete. I rise and I help others rise. I celebrate the magic in myself and in my sisters. Reframing all of those comments when you hear them, when they're said to you, or when you think them about yourself or others.
Right. I mean, you can sit down and you can journal and you can try and figure out, like, have I ever been the one dishing out the judgment or gossip? Have I ever done this to somebody? And don't feel guilty if you have, because
Right.
I mean, that's what we were taught. We all have done it at some point. Just learn from it and grow and learn to flip that script.
Yes. I mean, even asking another woman, how can I support you? And really meaning it. How can I help you with that? I love it that you're succeeding in this area of your life, whether it's motherhood, a new creative hobby, their career, and just celebrating that woman's win and saying, is there any way I can support you? Or, honoring the differences, how someone else does something versus how you do it. No competition, honoring those differences. And also healing the part within you that wants to judge first
Right.
and catching that, modeling kindness and not performative sisterhood. There is nothing worse than someone pretending to be the friend and then saying all the things, all those shadowy, snarky things. So really model kindness and not pretending to be.
Right. You're right. You have to model the behavior that you crave. Model the behavior and it'll attract that to you. That same energy. I mean, really just sit and think about what a true friendship is to you. What's true sisterhood looks like.
Right.
And what are you doing to create more of it? I pretty much
Ex-
said what Holly just said, but I took credit.
no, we're saying the same things basically, just in different ways. But I think that's because one way you say gonna hit somebody. I say it's gonna you know
Right.
have that first moment. So yeah, definitely we're circling around, but it's good.
And then I think we need to forgive the people that have hurt us in the past for just being human, because that's what
Yes,
it is.
really checking ourselves, I think too, on that scarcity mindset,
Mm.
believing that there's not enough love, attention, success, or visibility to go around. And that because thinking that way, if my friend has another friend, then they don't love me as much.
Right.
You can have many friendships. Friendships are sacred, or they should be sacred. And just because I have friends outside of Dana and Dana has friends outside of me does not mean that we are not great friends, that we are not like ride or die friends, and that we're there for each other all the time. But it's healthy for both of us to have other friendships as well outside of our own. And thinking that there's not enough room for more than one friend, also that fuels that competitive that competitive vibe, and not competitive in a healthy way, because there's healthy competition, right? I'm a very competitive person, but not a competitive person to try and outdo or overstep or one up my friend. That's
Right.
not that's not where competition should lie. Collaboration and support should lie amongst your friends.
And honestly, women supporting women is revolutionary.
Yes.
We need more of it, especially now. And I think that we need to compliment each other more, not about appearance, because appearance is too judgmental anyway. It doesn't make your worse. But I think we need to compliment each other's success, compliment each other's ideas.
Yeah.
We need to just celebrate other women's wins out loud.
Yes. Yes. Even something as simple as, I really loved how you made the spaghetti that you
Yes.
invited me over to have. Like, it's really wonderful.
Instead of
Or
saying, "I
yeah.
could have used more garlic or could have used," yeah.
Yeah. Did you put any salt in it? You know, all of
Yes.
those all of those remarks, but just celebrating the accomplishments. And I think Dana and I are a little bit at odds at this, but I do believe on complimenting women on their appearance as well. But I do believe there's a balance, because oftentimes those people only focus on those comments,
Mhm.
only women's appearances. And that's just the drop bucket of who we are. It's just the vessel we walk around in, as to where I do compliment women on, that color looks really good on you, or things like that. But we also need to be complimenting way deeper, like Dana said, on successes, the way they do things, how they carry their confidence. Maybe a better thing for me to say is, I love how you're carrying that confidence today, versus something to do with the appearance. So that's something that I probably need to work on.
'Cause I just don't think, I don't know. I do compliment appearances, but that's not the only thing I compliment,
Right.
because that's not your only worth. And I
No.
think a lot of people just put a lot into appearance. And I just don't feel like, okay, if I lost a lot of weight and you told me, wow, you look a lot better now, does that mean I didn't look good now? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
that's a kind of a,
Versus complimenting Dana on, wow, I saw how hard you worked to do this.
yes, the
That's
success of
amazing.
losing the weight and becoming
Right.
healthier and becoming, like, I think that's more what I was trying to say
Right.
there.
Because,
Compare, but
yeah, exactly. I think, though, that's something ingrained in me as well. Being raised in the deep South, appearance was everything. And so, me trying to find ways to flip that within myself and recognize and lower that. We don't have to look any kind of way. We
mhm,
just need to look like ourselves, and being able to use it in words, like, instead of complimenting how they look. Yeah, really, I'm amazed at women who can be so busy and still get up and put so much effort into getting
yeah,
dressed and putting on the makeup and doing the hair every single day. And so, saying, I love how diligent you are about taking care of yourself in that way.
yes.
Just flipping those comments to more self-worth versus appearance. So that is something that I need to work on.
Okay.
And that's a wrap on this episode of Flip That Script, where we turn tables on old stories and reclaim our power, one subconscious shift at a time.
And if today's episode stirred something in you, made you laugh, cry, or see yourself or other women in a new light, we'd love for you to share it with a friend who needs it too.
And don't forget, like, subscribe, and review. It helps our podcast rise and ripple into the hearts that need it the most.
And follow us on your favorite platform so that you don't miss next week's episode. It's going to be another soulful, eye opening, maybe even slightly rebellious ride through the subconscious.
Until then, be kind to yourself, hold space for your sisters, and remember, The power was never meant to be small.
Okay, we love you, and we'll see you next week and catch you next time on Flip That Script.